Thank you everyone for choosing to watch my video. Today, like always, we'll be editing a black and white image. But today I'm going to show you a different way of editing. I found this simple technique. It's very simple, and I hope you follow me through the editing process. I'll be taking you on location to show you the image that I shot and that will be editing, and I'll see you all there. Good morning and welcome to another video. Today I'm in Valletta, the capital city of Malta, and the Grand Harbour, and I'll be going somewhere around here, around this corner, and I'll be taking some long exposure shots of the breakwater. I'll show you around a bit. It's a moody, cloudy day today. And hopefully we'll get some great shots. I'll be turning these images into black and white, and I'll be showing you my editing process. A bit further and we should be there. We're getting closer to the breakwater. I moved further up and I found a great spot to take this image. We have a tanker passing through the breakwaters, and I'll be showing you these images once I get home, and we'll be turning them into black and white. Well, hi again guys, and today I'll be using Adobe Camera Raw. Anyone who wishes to use Lightroom, it's just the same settings and sliders. And we're going to start off by changing the profile into Adobe Landscape. And then we're going to start using the exposure panel. I'm going to reduce a bit of highlights, increase the shadows, increase the whites, and then increase the blacks just a bit. I'm not going to touch the contrast, but I'm going to increase just a bit of exposure. Next, I'm going to go down to the effects panel, and I'm going to increase just a bit of texture to around there. Clarity, just a touch, and a bit of dehaze. My aim is to increase all the colors of the image. I just removed the clippings on the blacks there. Next, I'm going to head down to the detail panel, increase the sharpening a bit further up. I'm going to go all the way up to around 70. I'm going to reduce the radius and increase the detail. I'm going to hold down the Alt arrow on the Windows PC, and I'm going to increase all the way until I only want to sharpen the foreground and the white parts. Next thing I'm going to do is head down to the calibration, increase the blue primary, Don't forget we're increasing all the colors of the image. We're over exaggerating because we're turning it into black and white. And that's what we want to do. Increase all the colors. And from here, I'm going to take it over to Photoshop. Stick with me through the Photoshop process. It's just a couple of minutes. And you'll see you get a better black and white image instead of just clicking on the black and white button. Don't shy away. It's a very easy process. So bear with me, guys. I'm going to click on the open. And here we are in Photoshop. I'm going to go down to the adjustment layers and click on the black and white. I'm going to leave these how they are. You can play around with them if you wish. But I'm going to close the panel and I'm going to go back to the adjustments layer and click on the gradient map. And here I'm going to click on the smooth and click on classic. Here we need to click on the gradient map if your gradient map is like this, because we need to reverse the whites and the blacks. Just click on it and just move the sliders in the opposite direction. And that's it, and just click on OK. Close this window, open the three lines, click on the three lines here and flatten the image. And there we have our black and white image, and we're going to head back over to Adobe Camera Raw, or if you're using Lightroom, head back to Lightroom. Click on Filter, Camera Raw Filter, and it opens up again in Adobe Camera Raw or Lightroom. From here, I'm going to use the exposure panel again, and I'm going to increase a bit of whites until I see clippings on the histogram, and the blacks until I see clippings, which they stayed on 0. I'm going to increase a bit of shadows. I always try the sliders before masking to around there. A bit of contrast, just a touch. And I think I'm going to increase just a bit of exposure unless I see clippings on the histogram on the right side, which I do. So I'm going to leave it how they are. So now we're going to start using that tool I told you, which changed my way of editing. And this tool, look on the maps, the masking, and this tool is just the brush tool. And that's all we'll be using. And at the end of the editing, we'll just be doing a vignette with the radial filter. Always check that your feather is up to 100, flow 100, and density up to 100. We need to make the feathering so we have a gradient between the inner circle of the brush and the outer circle of the brush. Increase your brush size by turning the wheel on the mouse or by using the bracket keys on your keyboard. And now I'm going to increase a bit of exposure first before I use the tool, the brush, to around the other way. I need to decrease the exposure, sorry about that, to around 35. And then I'm going to just paint away, and I'm going to use the part of the gradient map the most. I'm going to increase the exposure because I want it a bit more dark. That should be okay. I'm going to hit the K on the keyboard to give me another brush, another mask. And there we have a new brush. I'm going to increase another exposure just a bit more. I'm going to decrease the brush size and just brush the top part of the sky. And I'm going to decrease the exposure some more to around there. I'm going to hit the K again, or you can just create a new mask. I have a new mask and I'm going to do the same for the foreground. I'm going to reduce the exposure to around there, and I'm just going to paint away with the brush. You can change your settings and just decrease a bit more if you wish. I'm going to use another brush. I'm going to click on K. Gave me another brush. I'm going to this time increase the whites. I always use the slider first before I paint away with the brush. I'm going to increase the whites. I'm going to start doing some dodging and burning. And the first part I'm going to start off with is this. It's my dog barking. Is the bricks or paving on here. I'm going to increase it just a bit. And I'm going to give it a bit of exposure also. Don't exaggerate. I'm going to use K again for a new mask. And I'm going to do the same for these bricks here or stones. I'm going to increase the exposure to around there. I'm going to paint away on these bricks here. I'm going to increase it a bit more. If you go overboard, which I've done here, just click on the subtract, use the brush, and just paint it away. I'm going to use another brush, click on K. This way you can move more quickly. And I'm going to increase over here. I'm going to increase it a bit, not too much. Should be okay. And if you think this setting is enough, just use it also for here, which works very well. And like this, we'll be doing dodging and burning. I always dodge, which is lightening your mask where the brighter parts of the image are. Going to reduce the brush and do here also. That should be okay. I went overboard here. I'm going to use the subtract brush. I'm going to use another brush. And now I'm going to target parts of the sea which are a bit brighter. But I'm going to increase a bit of exposure first. You can always dial it down if you think it's too much, which I think it is, don't worry. I'm going to dial it down to around there. Should be okay. I'm going to use another brush. Click on OK. And here I'm going to target. But for this I'm going to increase the image size so I do it a bit more accurately. And I'm going to do a bit on here. You see, when you don't increase the exposure or one of these sliders straight away, you get this. It still works out the same, but I prefer moving the sliders first. I'm going to use subtract because I went on these parts here. And I'm going to increase a bit of shadows also. And that should be great. I'm going to do the same. I'm going to use another brush. And I'm going to do the same for here. I'm going to use subtract again because I've gone over again. I'm hurrying up, you can be more accurately, and I'm going to increase some shadows and a bit of exposure. I'm going to use another brush. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to increase the image size a bit. I'm going to go over the lighthouse here, just so it gives the image that what it was with the light on. That should be okay. I have some weird effects here, don't worry, you can remove it with the erase tool. And I have a blurry ship in the background here. I'm going to step out of the masking just a bit. I'm going to reduce the image size. I'm going to check the before and after by going back to the masks and click on this eyeball. That's the before, and this is the after. Now what I aim to do now is give a bit more light in the sky here. So I'm going to use another brush, increase it a bit to around there, increase the whites before I use the brush to around there, and I'm just going to click away. You don't have to paint, you can just click away like this if you wish. That should be great. And the next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to use another brush. Click on OK. And here on the right side, the sun has risen, and I'm going to give it a bit of hazy look. So I'm going to go down to the dehaze, and I'm going to use minus. My dog is outside the door. He's barking. He wants to come in. And I'm going to just click away. And there we're going to show you the before and after of the dehaze. Well guys, I think that's enough. I'm just going to do one more edit. And here I'm going to go out of the masking. I'm going to head down to the curve tool. And I'm going to increase the highlights until I see clippings on the right. Going to increase the whites also. I'll have clippings. Now the last thing I'm going to do, I'm going to use another mask, but here I'm going to use the radial gradient, which I already told you before, for a vignette. And the vignette, I'm going to place it over the brightest part of the image, and it's going to become a natural vignette. I'm going to head out to around here, and I'm just going to increase the size of the vignette. And now don't forget to invert the mask. And I'm going to reduce the exposure to around there. I'm going to decrease the image size, and I'm going to show you the before and after. I use this different tool, this one tool, for my editing. This is the before. I'm going to click on the P for preview on my keyboard. That's the before, and you're going to see the amazing difference by using masking and just the masking brush. And that's the after. It's the before and the after. You can try this method on all your images, black and white images, even old images. And I hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in another video. Please hit the subscribe button and thumbs up, give me a like, and leave any comments below if you have any questions. Thank you guys, and I'll see you in another video.